now we'll practice Uttanasana. Stand with your feet hip distance apart, hands on hips, strong, long, engaged legs, shoulders back, rib cage lifting, shoulder blades pressing forward into the rib cage. And then exhale and fold forward, lifting the inner legs, the outer legs, lifting the fronts of the legs and lifting and lengthening the backs of the legs, and turn your pelvis over the femurs. And then let your trunk release down. Let the front ribs release down towards the toenails. Let the back ribs release down towards the back of the head. Let your skull release and relax down, going with gravity. Let your elbows go wide. Let the abdomen recede and get longer. Engage your legs so the musculature of the legs hugs the bones and lifts. Breathing here in Uttanasana. And then remain firm in the legs as you take your hands to hips, shoulders towards the ceiling to reach your chest forward and come all the way up with a strong spine. Now we'll practice Prasarita Padottanasana with a very special twist. So step your feet wide, heels wider than toes, hands on hips. Lengthen the waist, lengthen the right and left sides of the spine, ascend through the central axis of the body and relax the throat, and then spread your arms out to the sides and get taller. Reach the upper inner thighs back, thigh bones pull back. Inhale here, and then exhale, take the right hand all the way over to the floor near the left foot, and lift the left arm up to the ceiling. Make more space between head and tail. Lengthen the anterior spine and twist. Twist the low belly. Twist the navel region. Twist the rib cage and look up. And then inhale back to the center. And exhale, take the left hand to the floor near the right foot. Reach the right arm up. Lengthen the anterior spine. Twist the low belly. Twist at the latitude of the navel. Twist the right ribs open and the left ribs under you. Pull the thighs back and stretch the chest forward away from the thighs. And then inhale up to the center. And exhale, take the right hand to the floor near your left foot. Lift the left arm up, twisting. Inhale to center, strong legs, and exhale, twist to the left, lifting the right arm up, turning the spine. Inhale up to the center, thighs pull back. Exhale, twisting right hand near left foot, turning the ribs. Inhale up to center, lifting the low belly, and exhale, left hand near right foot, turning up. Inhale to the center, and exhale, right hand near left foot, twisting up to the left. And inhale to the center, and exhale, twisting left hand near right foot, turning the belly and the ribs. Inhale up to the center, and exhale, and step your feet together. Now we'll practice what I call the Prasarita dog. So have your blocks ready in front of you, and then step your feet wide so that your heels are wider than your toes, thighs rolling in, muscles of the legs engaged and lifting up, thighs pressing back, Lift the low belly, lift the side ribs, shoulders back, lift from under the heart, and then exhale and fold yourself forward, taking the hands to the blocks. Keep your legs very active and very tall. Keep lifting the backs of the legs as you slide your blocks forward, taking your upper body into a down dog position. Pull the outer hips up and back, pull the inner thighs back. Stretch your hands and arms forwards as you let your head release down between the arms. Think of the thoracic spine deepening towards the chest. Abdomen is long, and the front of the spine, the anterior spine, is very elongated here. Stay lifted in the fronts and backs of the legs evenly. Stay grounded in the inner feet. Press your hands into the blocks and release the top of the head down. Stay open and relaxed and lifted in the back of the throat. Let the abdomen recede and lengthen. Breathing here. And then walk your hands back so the blocks are right under the shoulders, and then walk your feet a little closer. Bend your knees, hands to hips, shoulders back, and lift the chest to come on up. And then step your feet together. Now we'll practice Parsvottanasana, so have your 2 blocks ready. And step your right foot forward and left foot back, so your feet are hips width apart. Square your hips by pulling your right hip back and left hip forward. And then press your feet down and draw up through the musculature of the legs to extend and straighten the legs fully. Lift the low belly, shoulders back. Lengthen the upper side ribs. Lift the collarbones and look up with strong legs. And then exhale and keep your spine very long as you hinge at the hips and fold forward, taking your hands to blocks. Ground the back quadricep back towards the hamstring, and then press the front big toe mound down and draw up through the musculature of the front of that right thigh. Pull the right hip back and gather the outer right hip back and in towards the midline of the body. And now slide the low belly a little bit to the right so that you square your trunk directly over that front leg, starting with the very low belly coming to face that right thigh. And then you're going to start to fold even deeper, sliding the blocks forward, elongating through the armpits, and then release the nose towards the shin. Outer right hip is pulling back and in. Hips are square, back thigh is firm. Ground the back heel down. Ground the front big toe mound down and make your legs taller. And then walk the blocks back so the blocks frame the front foot, stretching the chest forward. Take your hands to hips and stand on up. Firm legs. Shoulders back. And then switch sides. Now stepping the left foot forward and the right foot back. And have your feet hips width apart. Ground through the feet and draw up through the musculature of the legs and pull the left hip back and right hip forward. Ascend up through the central axis of the body and take your shoulders back. Lift the collarbones and lift the chin as you inhale, and then exhale, hinge at the hips and take your hands down to the blocks. And then start to slide your belly to the left as you gather the outer left hip in, so that you can align the midline of your trunk with the midline of the left leg. Ground the back heel, ground the front big toe mound, and draw up through the front of that left leg to square the hips even more. And let the abdomen recede towards the spine and lengthen forwards to help you lengthen the front ribs forward to open the chest. Breathing here. And then start to slide the blocks forwards. Still pulling the outer left hip back. Grounding the right thigh back. Firm in the front thigh. Elongating the trunk over that front leg. Stretch long through the armpits, stretch long through the front of the spine. And then walk the hands back with those blocks, stretch the chest forward, take hands to hips, and lift all the way up. And then step your feet together and release your arms by your sides. Now we'll practice Upavishta Konasana. So sit on the corner of a folded blanket as you see here and stretch your legs out to the sides. So don't have your legs too wide. I would say about 120-degree angle is plenty wide. And take your hands behind you on the blanket and press your fingertips down into the blanket so that you can lengthen the spine up, shoulders back. Tops of the thighs are very grounded, and make sure the thighs are not internally rotating or externally rotating, but the fronts of your legs are pointing straight up to the ceiling. Feet are pointing straight up to the ceiling in flexion. Ground down the tops of your femurs and lift the low belly. Inner and outer knees equally grounded. Inner feet extending. Spread the inner legs from the groins to the inner knees to the ankles and gather the outer thighs back into the hips. And then start to take a twist to the right. So the left hand comes in front of your pubic bone onto the floor and the right hand is behind you on the blanket. Keeping the legs active, start to turn the belly, turn the low belly, turn the navel, turn the rib cage. Left ribs forward, right ribs back. Get grounded, especially in that left femur. Inner left knee grounding. And come back to the center. Pause here. And then twist over to the other side, taking the right fingertips to the sticky mat in front of your pubic bone. Left hand behind. Ground the right femur, ground the right inner knee as you turn the low belly to the left. Rotate the navel to the left, rotate the ribs. Take the left ribs forward and the right ribs back. Keep your breath open here as you turn, as you twist. And then come back to the center. Gather the outer thighs towards the hip sockets. Lengthen the side ribs up towards the armpits and take your shoulders back and down. Inner knees grounding. And then start to fold forward now, taking your hands in front of you and then lower down onto forearms. Elbows walking forward. Let the abdomen recede. Let the upper buttocks release down towards the blanket. So the navel recedes back towards the anterior spine and the bottom front ribs still extend forwards to keep the front of the trunk long. Keep the kidney area open and expanding. So don't let those bottom back ribs sink forward, but rather gently move the front ribs towards the back ribs and then slide the whole rib cage forward. Buttocks grounding down behind you, thigh bones grounding vigorously. Steady breathing here. And then walk your hands back towards the pelvic floor, And then take your hands behind you so that you can sit tall. Staying active in the legs. And then slide your legs together, bending the knees. Now we'll practice Shavasana, and we'll do what I call a wide Shavasana, with the limbs nice and wide. So set yourself up by taking the flesh of the buttocks away from the lower back. And have your head resting on a blanket here, so there's some softness under the head. And then stretch your arms out wide and stretch your legs out wide, like a starfish. And just enjoy the spaciousness of this Shavasana, letting the limbs be expansive and relaxed at the same time. And deepen your breath here. And let your next exhalation be very slow and gradual and smooth. Relax and release.